Wearing my favorite color today, Tony. Got a little purple on.
I'm Tony Kornheiser, and I am looking suave in mauve. I got to tell you the story.
Good.
I'm out here in Delaware. I'm looking for a jacket. I go to the back of the closet. There's a suit bag. I open the suit bag. This is in it. It's not a suit. It's just a jacket.
Nice
I don't
pastel.
remember buying it. I don't know when I got it. I don't know whose it is. I don't know.
Pastel,
but I
baby.
decided I'd wear it. Well, I had a
140
tie
degrees
that I
out
knew.
there.
Yeah, the tie would bring it all together, so I went with it. We'll see how it works out. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Tyrese Halliburton reflects, Big Dumper thumps, and Brian Windhorst joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with trade activity in the NBA. The Pelicans just sent C.J. McCollum to the Wizards for Jordan Poole. This follows the news that the Boston Celtics are trading starting guard Drew Holiday to the Portland Trail Blazers for starting guard Anthony Simons. What's more, it is being reported that the Celtics are open to trading other players, including Kristaps Porzingis. Wilbon, where do you want to start?
Well, you got to start with Drew Holiday, a two-time champion, Tony, with Milwaukee and Boston. And Drew Holiday's been a terrific player for a long time, 17 years in the league. But you mentioned what Boston's doing. Look, Boston's had an ownership change. And the new owners are not going to necessarily be committed to paying two players $600 million. That would be Tatum and Brown. And then a lot of other guys, a lot of money for a team that's been a championship contender. So that payroll is going to go down, second apron and all the things you and I are not going to get into the weeds on. So they traded away Drew Holiday. But I thought the Celtics did a great job in getting Simons, a young player who can fill it up and who's a pretty good three-point shooter. And, you know, you got younger, you got cheaper. You're going to save $40 million on your tax bill. The Celtics always seem to, whether we're talking about, you know, what Red Auerbach going back, make the right move at the right time. Seems like a good move. And if you're going to be the Wizards, and I know you're not really thrilled with what the Wizards do, but if you can bring C.J. McCollum in to be the adult in the room, and a lot of people in the league like what the Wizards are doing and the three young players they brought in, you bring that guy in like you put in Chris Paul in San Antonio. You bring a smart, tough, disciplined, veteran player to help mentor. So these moves are interesting moves. One will show up right away. One may take years.
I'm not going to track over anything you said. I agree with most of what you said. It's a very good trade for the Celtics. Brad Stevens makes very good trades. Everybody likes Drew Holiday. He did a great job in the Olympics. He did a great job when Boston won the championship an hour and a half ago, right? Just last year when they won the championship. He's 35 years old. He's entering his 17th season. They're getting a guy who averaged 19 points last year. You don't have to worry about ball handling even without Holiday because White and Brown and Pritchard, they all handle the ball. And you're getting a guy who's 26. You just traded 35 for 26 and 35 for 26 with an expiring contract. That's wonderful. I'm a little bit more uneasy and nuanced about the possibility of Porzingis going because Porzingis, I love him when he's healthy, but he's never healthy. He's Joel Embiid, and he has a mysterious illness. So you don't know what his durability will be if and when he comes back. I'll get to the Wizards briefly. Yeah, you think more of them than I think of them. They're on a youth movement. They've drafted, 65 people in the last 4 days, it seems. And some of them might work out down the road. But they're also bringing in old people now. They're bringing in McCollum. They brought in, who did they bring in? Marcus Smart. They brought in Chris Middleton. It seems to me that they are trying to win the 2015 NBA championship. And I don't think they know what they're doing. That's just me. Jordan Poole, of course they were going to trade him, right? He's always traded for one bad team to another bad team. Yeah,
I'd rather have C.J. McCollum than Jordan Poole any day of the week in my locker room full of young players.
100% of the time.
That's a no-brainer.
100% of the time. I'm just saying I don't think the Wizards have a long-term plan for all these old guys. I don't.
Okay, all right. Let's move to the aftermath of Tyrese Halliburton's torn Achilles. The Pacers star posted that he did not regret playing with his calf strain, saying, quote, "I do it again and again after that to fight for this city and my brothers for the chance to do something special," close quote. He added, again, quote, "People tell me I'm going to come back stronger. What a cliche. LOL. This bleep sucks, but I will do everything in my power to get back right," close quote. Tony, how would Halliburton's comments sound to you if you were any part of Pacers Nation?
Well, let me just say that if I was a fan of the Indiana Pacers, first of all, I would be proud. I would be proud that this man put his career on the line to play in a Game 7 and win a championship for my town. And I would be proud of all the nice things that he has said about Indianapolis. And I would not be angry that he's going to be out all next year and that the team is greatly diminished because he's going to be out all next year. I wouldn't have said what he did was selfish, and I would like to think that I would have done the same thing if I were in his shoes. But I'm not a Pacers fan, and I don't live in Indiana. And so it was with great interest today that I watched a bunch of former athletes, basketball players and football players on morning television shows line up to get in lockstep, and just say how great Halliburton was. And to say I would do the same thing. They praised him, and they said I would do the same thing, and I get that. But nobody talked about the actual cost of what happened here, not the theoretical cost, the actual cost. He's out. He's going to be gone probably the whole year. And this is not a bone that broke that with 100% certainty is going to heal. No, that's not necessarily true. You don't know how he'll be when he gets back. And so while I applaud what he did, if I were a Pacers fan, if you come to me next February, when my team is under 500, maybe I don't feel as benevolent about the thing.
I am not only not a Pacers fan, I'm not part of the Pacers Nation. I grew up in the state next door. And my tendency is to hate everything in Indiana. And let me tell you this, before I read Halliburton's explanation, this wonderful letter to everybody involved, he was already rising up my favorite player list. And now he's at the damn top of it, okay? Because this is what you do. Sports is risk. It's always risk when you go out there. And so I don't care. Yes, I'm in lockstep. This kid went out there to try to win a championship. And anybody who wants to criticize that needs to walk the hell out the side door. I don't want to hear from them because they're chumps.
Nobody's criticizing.
Don't want to hear it.
No, nobody is criticizing him. And I'm not criticizing him. I hope to do the same thing. But I am saying there is an actual cost that you will feel all of next year. Right? You'll feel it.
There's a cost for anything. He went out there knowing this could happen. That's why he slammed the floors many times. He knew it could happen. He hoped it didn't.
Sure.
He's playing for a title. Let me ask you this. How many titles the Pacers got? How many banners they got hanging up there?
They got 3 in the ABA and none in the NBA. If it's a Game 7, you do it. If it's a Game 2 or 3, I don't know.
Maybe
you may
not.
Question it, right?
Maybe not.
I
love him.
I don't know.
It's my favorite player. Favorite player in the league.
He's not the most overrated. The playoffs proved that. Let's go back to Cal Raleigh, who we talked about yesterday. Big Dumper hit another bomb last night. That's his 4th straight game with a homer and his 32nd homer of the season. That puts him 4 clear of Aaron Judge. Now, everybody expects Aaron Judge to be the MVP again. Wilbon, would you like to make the case for Raleigh over Judge?
Yeah, Tone, is real short. Catcher. It's the most difficult position in baseball. The most difficult, the most demanding. Often, all you got to do is look at the number of former catchers in dugouts as managers, and these guys are more than just tough, wearing what used to be called, people don't even know anymore, tools of ignorance, just the opposite, tools of intelligence, because the smartest guys on the field are often the catchers. They control everything, every single pitch of a game. People now pitch barely, 4 or 5 innings, but catchers are out there the whole time. And this guy's hitting. He's in a category. That's why I said yesterday, I used Yogi Berra and Roy Campanella. Those were multiple-time MVPs and arguably the greatest catchers, Josh Gibson, of all time in Major League Baseball. This guy is doing something that puts him above Aaron Judge to me if you just look at his hitting. Yeah. But we're not going to just look at his hitting, his power numbers, his home runs, and his runs. He controls the game. He's a catcher. There's honor in that goes beyond any position in baseball.
And I agree with everything you said, but I will point something out. It's very hard for a catcher to win the MVP. Well, maybe it's not as hard as it is rare. Okay, in the century we're living in now, only 2 guys, Buster Posey and Joe Mauer, are catchers that won the MVP. You have to go back, Mike, to 1976 to get two more. Pudge Rodriguez won it in the 90s, but Thurman Munson won it in 1976. If my math is correct, that's 49 years. And everybody's going to say, whoa, what about Johnny Bench? Johnny Bench won the MVP in 1972. That's 53 years. Why does this happen? Because catcher is not a glamour position. It's a utilitarian position, and it's hard, right? You can't play it every day. You just cannot physically do it. If a team gets a catcher they like, they put that catcher back there for 15 years and they don't say a word about it to anyone because they're so happy. Now, catching right now, the typical batting average for a catcher is 239. That is the lowest average on any position on the team. Rawley's hitting 40 points above that, and he's a switch hitter. He's got more home runs than Aaron Judge. He's got more RBI than Aaron Judge. He fields his position better than Aaron Judge. He was the Platinum Glove last year. He was the best defensive player at any position in the league. So he was TJ Watt. So he was Myles Garrett. Mike, if he played today in New York or LA, he'd be the face of the league today, above Ohtani and above Judge just for today because of what he's done this year. Let's take a break. Coming up, how are the rash of Achilles injuries affecting the NBA? We're going to ask Brian Windhorst.
We'll also ask him what he expects from the Lakers' new owner. Yeah, he's so valuable.
Don't yell at me about Tyrese Halliburton.
No,
I'm
yelling
side.
at anybody else. I'm yelling at everybody.
Let's dig back into the NBA with our great friend, ESPN senior NBA writer and the host of the Hoop Collective podcast, Mr. Brian Windhorst. I go to the glass as we saw 3 Achilles tears in the postseason. Tyrese Halliburton, Jason Tatum, Damian Lillard, they all had them. Are you seeing any bigger picture impact from those things?
Yeah, we're seeing a crazy dichotomy developing between what I can only call an arms race in the Western Conference and teams in the Eastern Conference with these terrible injuries potentially downgrading their rosters to wait for their guys to get healthy. So we just saw a trade today where Drew Holiday goes to Portland. Portland, which is for sale, by the way, takes on a 35-year-old, a two-time champion, but a 35-year-old with a $100 million contract with the hopes of getting to 10th, getting to 9th. It was a crazy move for a team that was celebrating going 25-25 in the second half of the season. And so what I'm seeing is in the East, Boston is pulling money off of their roster because they can't justify a $400 or $500 million payroll when Jason Tatum's probably not going to be able to play. I've got Milwaukee evaluating what they're going to do with their 7 free agents, considering Dame Lillard may miss the majority, if not all, of next season. And Indiana was all set to go into the tax for the first time in 20 years. And now I don't know if they're going to do that with Tyrese Halliburton going to probably miss all of next season, while teams are beating each over the head to crawl into the play-in in the Western Conference. And I think this is potentially only going to get more exacerbated over the next couple of weeks in the transaction season.
Wow. All right, as long as we're talking about movement, Brian, let's talk about Kevin Durant leaving Phoenix to go be traded to the Rockets. Because out here in the desert, we're very underwhelmed by what the Suns got in return. But what strikes you about the KD to Houston move?
Well, player empowerment is live and well because Kevin Durant basically blocked a trade to have the Warriors trade for him in February, and he blocked a trade, the potential for the Timberwolves to trade for him about 7 to 10 days ago. I think both of those deals would have or could have gone down had Durant not stepped in and said, I don't want to go there. So with 1 year left on his contract, he was able to force his way right to a spot where he wanted, which was Houston. And the thing that I think is remarkable about this is we're looking at a situation where Durant is, handpicking his team. And Phoenix paid a premium to get him in a closed market. When he handpicked Phoenix, they paid 4 first-round picks and 3 swaps and 2 players. And then the market was closed up by Durant again because he wanted to direct himself again. And then they got a small price. So they paid a premium to get him in a closed market, and they sold him at a low price in a closed market, and they lost on both ends of the deal. Not ideal.
All right, the movement in Los Angeles doesn't involve players yet. It involves, as you know, ownership. What are you expecting out of this change and the new owners of the Los Angeles Lakers?
So I want to be respectful of the Buss family because they have been incredible stewards of this iconic brand, and they have always treated stars very well. But compared to their fellow teams, they are a generation behind. They are not modernized in the way they operate their teams and the way they do their staffs, the way their systems are. And based on what happened with the Dodgers after Mark Walter and his partners bought the team, this team is going to be modernized. And I would say that if I was a rival team, I would be thrilled what this sale did for the value of my franchise and not thrilled that the Lakers are going to have the brand and the backing that they haven't enjoyed in a long time.
We will get you out of here on this. What is going on with the Knicks' never-ending search for a new head coach?
Well, in this case, I'm just going to list some facts, okay? The Knicks are not in a hurry. This is a choice, okay? We have several of their coaches that they wanted to interview from other teams that have gotten contract extensions. Well, Ime Udoka got one for sure. And Billy Donovan is in the process of getting one. Jason Kidd has not gotten a contract extension. Jason Kidd's top assistant, Sean Sweeney, has left to go to San Antonio. Another one of Jason Kidd's top assistants, God Shamgod, might be leaving. Those are facts. The Knicks are dragging their feet. I assume it's with a purpose. So let's just watch how things play out. They definitely could still hire some of these guys who are unemployed, but maybe they're taking their time for a reason.
Well, if that reason has anything to do with Jason Kidd, you heard it here first. Thank you, Brian, as always.
1+1.
Thank you, Brian. Let's take one last break, but still to come, Lionel Messi and Inter Miami do something once thought improbable.
And the Mavs reportedly lock up a piece on the eve of the draft that should land them Cooper Flag.
I still
Jason
don't know
Kidd,
why
Tony.
the Knicks fired Thibodeau.
Jason Kidd.
I still don't know why they fired Thibodeau.
I've always believed that Jason Kidd's going to wind up coaching the Knicks and not the Mavericks. That's just what I believe.
Shepard. It's possible Shepard is on the verge of more playing time in Houston now that Jalen Green is gone in the Kevin Durant trade. Certainly Shepard's rookie year was not what people expected when Shepard was drafted 3rd overall after one and done at Kentucky. Shepard got only 12 minutes a game, averaged only 4.4 points, and this was surprising because a poll of NBA executives and scouts had suggested Shepard would be a candidate for Rookie of the Year. Maybe Ime Udoka will give him more time next season. If I were a guard in Houston, I'd give the ball to Kevin Durant and I would get out of his way.
No, they're going to need help from him, Tony. But the slurping of this kid coming out of that 1 year in college seemed preposterous to me. And 4 minutes a game is probably about the right way to have gone his rookie year.
Happy anniversary, Steve Hamilton. This is posthumous, but on this day 55 years ago, Hamilton threw his eephus pitch, known as the Folly Floater, to Cleveland's Tony Horton, who fouled it off. Horton asked Hamilton for the pitch again and fouled out to catcher Thurman Munson, prompting Horton to toss his bat and helmet and crawl back to the dugout on all fours. In addition to his 12 seasons in the majors, Hamilton at 6'6" played 2 seasons in the NBA. Hamilton and pitcher Gene Conley are the only two to have played in a World Series and an NBA Finals. Hamilton for the Yankees and the Minneapolis Lakers, and Conley for the Milwaukee Braves and the Celtics.
Tony, the rifleman Chuck Connors played for the Brooklyn Dodgers and the Celtics, but he didn't make it. He just sort of missed it, even though he was hanging around a couple of championship teams for a minute. A minute.
Yeah. Happy trails to the group stage of the Club World Cup for Inter Miami. Lionel Messi Brazilian club Palmeiras 2-2 last night. Many had ridiculed Inter Miami for even being included in this tournament. Just last month, Inter Miami's coach said, quote, "It's clear that we are not at the level to compete."
That's exciting. Even though PSG doesn't have the star power it had recently, you mentioned they won one of the biggest tournaments in the world. I'm going to watch this, and I'm going to try to call you and convince you to watch it too.
Send me a pink shirt and I'll watch it. Let's go to the big finish. The Mavs are reportedly extending Daniel Gafford to the tune of 3 years, $60 million. Is that a smart move?
Yes, put a vet with some size in veteran experience next to your prize rookie you're going to draft is a smart move. Diamondback star Corbin Carroll out indefinitely with a chip fracture in his left wrist. That's a big loss.
He's a great player. He's Rookie of the Year a couple of years ago. Yeah, it's a big loss. The White Sox signed Noah Syndergaard to a minor league deal. Is that significant?
Wow. It's been a while since he was Noah Syndergaard, but he's only 32. Maybe there's a chance for one of these storybook late comeback star Skubal faces the A's tonight. Justin Verlander returns to the Giants, gets the Marlins. More compelling?
I would say Verlander because I like Verlander. You know that. Last one, the Cardinals beat your Cubs 8-2 last night. How'd that taste?
We're still like 3.5 ahead, but I didn't like it. I'm worried about our direction lately.
We're out of time. We will try to do better the next time. And I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, knucklehead. And you got all these Achilles injuries knocking out Dame Lillard from Milwaukee. And, of course, Tyrese Halliburton and Jason Tatum. To me, you're looking at a group of the Knicks and Cleveland and the Knicks. Orlando is ascending, but they're not ready to win a conference yet. It's going to take them a couple of years. Philadelphia, strangely enough, has these name players and maybe health. Is that possible? Can we count on Joel Embiid to be healthy for a season?
No.
If so, I throw their name into the mix, even though you're not going. I know you're not going to count on them anyway. Tony, I'm going to give you a name of a team on the come. Now, it would normally take them another year or so, but I'm going to say the Detroit Pistons. Pains me to say that. I just like what they're doing. But the Knicks and Detroit, to me, they are at the top of this. Milwaukee with no Dame, I can't go with that even if Giannis stays. But it's hard to choose.
Yeah, I have nothing that I can disagree with you on. I mean, the Celtics are going to be hurt because Tatum is not going to play. Milwaukee is going to be hurt just alone that Lillard isn't going to play, but I think they're going to trade Giannis. I don't know where he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be in Milwaukee. Indiana, they just lost their best player as well for the entire year. Orlando makes noise, but it's so far away. The Orlando noise is so
too early.
It's decades away, it seems. I'd love to see him do better. No, but I'm saying when they ever had noise before, it goes all the way back a couple of decades when they made. That's what I'm saying. I agree with you about Detroit. That Detroit looks like in the East what Oklahoma City looked like a couple of years ago. Yeah. But I don't know. The Knicks, you trust them more than I do. What if their old players don't like their new coach? What if everybody's upset because they went as far as they went and then they fired a coach? I don't know how that works. I don't know what the dynamic in the locker room is going to be. So I would say, honestly, Cleveland by a mile, unless you know something that I don't know, unless they're losing people and I'm not aware of it, and maybe you are. Okay, but if they're not, I would say Cleveland by a mile, honestly.
No, I'm not going to say Cleveland's going to lose anybody, and I hear you. I'm just going to name one person on the way out of this segment. Jason Kidd. If Jason Kidd is the coach of the Knicks, I'll take the Knicks to win the East. Like that? Maybe? Formerly Mr. Nick, team of your youth? That's it.
Sure. Let's see.
See, he came in late. We're done. Back to you.